Okay, so I actually have some interesting information. This is, I guess, part of my crypto diary, and I am a crypto newbie. I'm learning, and I'm learning very slowly. I have two other businesses, and just life, and so I don't always have a lot of time to invest in learning, and so it takes me a long time. And you know what? That's okay. That's one of the biggest things that I am learning was with anything, and even in investing, is no regrets. You just learn as you go. There's going to be mistakes. There's going to be wins, and yes, there's going to be missed opportunities. And like in my case, as I've shared in the past, is most of my investments within crypto I bought at the absolute worst time, at the tippy tops of the markets. And so, with everything being sideways the last several weeks, nothing, and then the big dips, I haven't fully recovered. I have made some good purchases where it made a little bit. I mean, I only put in like $50 or $20, and but I did make some things on that and pulled a little bit of profit, and that's what I'm trying to learn to do. This week I did with when XRP came back up to like 273 or something like that. I did pull half of one of my accounts with XRP that is specifically money from my business. I pulled half of that back out. I am trying to, I had put it in there initially just because it was in a savings account. It wasn't a lot. It was about $500. And I put it into XRP because I had opened up XRP like a week or two prior, and just as it was hitting $1, and then all of a sudden it jumped up to two something. And so I was like, why am I just letting my business money sitting in a savings account that makes like 2 cents a year? So I took some of that money, put it in XRP, but by the time I had actually done it, and I paid the spread fees, I was like way at the top, way at the top of the market, and not the very tip top. Unfortunately, I did hit the very tip top when my husband wanted me to put our personal money into XRP, and that was the biggest mistake I made. I put all of the money that he wanted me to invest at once in one day, and that happened to be the tippy top of the XRP market. And so in addition to the spread that I had to pay on it, I way overpaid for XRP, and that is sitting at a loss right now, but that's okay because that is a long-term holding. But as far as my business money, I went ahead, and because there was a slight bump this week, I pulled half of that account out just to kind of recover some of what I had invested. I didn't pull all of it because I kind of expect it to maybe go up a little bit more this week, and so kind of was playing it that safe. So I just pulled half, and basically broke even on that, which I'm okay with. And the other half, I will wait to see what is happening. I don't need it at the moment, but by April, I'm wanting to pull back all of my initial investment. But the nice thing is, with the profits in some of my other investments, that I opened up an RLUSD account through Uphold, and you get like 4.4% or something like that. And so when I do pull a profit, I put it in the RLUSD account. And of all the pulling just little bits of profits here and there, I basically have pulled back all of my initial investment from my business, and so if I needed to, I could drop that into my bank account and pay bills with it if I need to. So I will say, even though it doesn't feel like I'm doing well, honestly, based on what I've put into the crypto market in the last few months, since the really mid-November as to now, I have there's actually, it's grown. So not a lot, because I've been doing, like I said, little bitty, like $50 here and there is really what I've done. And so when I look at the grand scheme of things, it's doing well. I mean, honestly, if I pulled it all out, it would probably just be a little bit over break even, because the fees, we forget about fees. We get excited at prices, and then you look at the spread, meaning, let's say XRP is selling for $273 on the spot market, but by the time you put an order in, you pay the platform fee, which, like for Uphold, it's usually 99 cents if it's under $500, but then you pay a spread. So they charge you, instead of charging you $2.73, they bump it up to like $2.84. I'm just guessing, something like that. And so you actually are paying more than spot price. That is just the fee, cost of doing business, transaction fees. And so you have to look at what you're actually paying, and it's going to be more than spot. And so you have to take that into consideration, and you get that both ways. And so at the end of the day, you realize, oh my goodness, I just paid all these transaction charges, fees. I really haven't made any money. But if I were to pull everything out, put it back into my bank account, even with the market being down and sideways, I would be doing well. I mean, I would not have lost any money. So that is good news, and so I'm thankful for that. But one of the things I just wanted to talk about today, in my last couple diaries, I shared with you that, when I was first introduced to the crypto market back in 2000 and 2001, I bought into a new, they were launching. So it was like a pre-launch thing. And for a token, a coin that was supposed to come out, and it did for a very short time, and then they pulled it off, and I didn't understand, and I still don't understand everything. And I put in a few $1,000s into it, and I told you that I thought I was going to lose it all, and that they had changed. They basically had closed the initial project and started a new one, and supposedly I was going to get some tokens. All the original founders, investors, were going to get some tokens in this new project, and I did get it this week. I honestly, I was okay. It was like, okay, when I was initially investing, I knew it was risky. But then when they said, hey, we're going to give you some tokens in the new project, I was hopeful. And I didn't know what to expect. I knew it'd be a fraction of what I initially invested. But when I got it, and I saw the value of what I got, and the value was $1.95. It kind of did something to me. I don't get offended easily, but I was offended. I would have rather, in a way, just, because effectively, it was nothing. Lost my money with dignity, meaning I would have rather they had said, look, we did our best. This didn't work. I am so sorry. We're launching but we are going to try a new company. And if you want to, learn more about it, this is what we're going to do. We're not going to ask you to reinvest, but if you want to, that's great. We can't. And if they had been honest and saying, look, we can't, we're not in a position to really give you back your investment. But if you want to be part of this new project, we'll give you, this is what we'll give you if you want to be part of that. And that way I would have been like, okay, I've lost my money. And while what they're offering is basically zero, it might be something later and I'll take it. Or, at least if I had known. But what had happened was they're just, over 5 years, it was just, we're working on this, we're making some changes, but blah, 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 blah. But it wasn't until they had already launched the new company, the new token, the new vision, everything, and it had been out in public. It's under a new name, and they had hid it from the original investors what that was. And as original investors, we all thought it was still going to carry some of the original vision, but by the time they're like, okay, hey, you know what's up, and just let you know, it has been live for a while, and here's the information. And I looked at it, and it was nothing like, it was a completely different project. And it wasn't a project that I was interested in. And actually, I'm like, I don't really want to be part of this. And so, but the person who started it, the original project, I have a lot of regard and respect for. That person brought on other people into the project, one in particular that I did not have a lot of regard and respect for. And so when I saw that they brought this person on a couple years ago, I wasn't excited about it, but I was just like, okay, I'm just going to trust this person. And now I see the influence that's been on that. And this week, when I got my coins that were worth $1.95, I just wanted to be able to voice my opinion. And what had happened is, those of us who are original investors, there used to be a lot of open dialogue and conversation among us. And then about 5-6 months ago, first they started changing, here we're closing down this chat. We're going to open up a different one. We're closing down all these things. So they closed down the website. They closed down the emails. They closed down the chats. They opened a new one under the same name for the original investors, but not everybody could be part of that chat. You had to be invited. And I got in there, and there was still some conversation, and then all of a sudden they closed comments. You could no longer interact. You could put a thumbs up or a heart on a comment or something, but you couldn't ask questions. You couldn't make any comments. And I had asked the one new person who seemed to be in charge of everything now a couple of times, had made a couple requests or questions, and really didn't get much out of it. But I was trying to respect the original developer because they had been going through a lot and were very busy. So I never reached out to them personally. One, I thought it was probably inappropriate. But this week when I got my tokens and I just saw some of the conversations that were being said and some of the comments that were being left by the owners of this new project, I was like, look, I gotta say something. I have to ask some questions. I have to just share what I'm feeling, because I'm feeling really like this was a bait and switch. I'm feeling kicked to the curb. I just need to tell them how I'm feeling. I think I've earned that right. I've given them about $3,000. Plus, I even had volunteered my personal time when they were first starting. I was on one of their support teams, meaning, when people were trying to invest and had questions, I volunteered my time to manage. I took a section of time or a day of the week where I managed the chat for that and answered questions and would engage with people who needed help. And so, I was invested in this project, and I'm like, I just want to tell them what I'm thinking and what I'm seeing and what I'm feeling. And, but I'm like, how do I reach out to this person? I don't want to go through the new one that had been added and seemed to be was like the doorkeeper, the gatekeeper. And I'm like, I've already tried communicating with this person, and I'm just not feeling good about this person. Did not want to talk to them. And so the only thing I could think of to do was to click on the actual profile of the developer and send a private message. And I did. And I just want to say that when, even in our frustrations, I think we need to, I think we need to be able to say and speak our frustrations, but to do so in a way that we remember we're talking to a human being on the other side. And I did that as much as I could. I knew it wasn't going to be well received, because if it was me and I was getting this, I would be a little offended, because, when you build something and you're working on something, you're doing your best and people are disappointed, you don't want to hear that. But at the same time, when you're somebody on the other end and you've believed in something and you've invested time and money, and all of a sudden things are not the way they had, you feel like they've not quite been totally honest and open with you, which I stand on that. They were not. As much as they tried to be, they were not. So it was a total bait and switch, in my opinion. So I sent a message and explained my frustrations, and I knew the reply would probably not be comfortable, but my whole point with them is, why did you cut off communication? Because we need to have these hard conversations. It's not fair to just basically cut us all off, and we can't even express what we're feeling. And a lot has happened, and we need to be able to share what we're feeling, because basically I just lost my money in a crypto investment. And I was okay if they had just kind of come out and said, look, we couldn't make it go. I'm sorry you lost your money. But to keep us like hanging on a thread and hanging on to hope for 5 years, and then to be handed $1.95 and then saying, this is going to go to $50 a coin. And you're just like, oh my gosh, they all say that. And the reality is, no, it probably is not. So why can't you just be honest about this? And why couldn't you just say, we lost your money? And and what I told him, I was like, you mean somebody who has not been with you for 5 years, who hasn't invested $3,000, comes up and puts $5 into this project, and they have almost 5 times the benefit than what I'm getting. I'm getting $1.95. And I felt like it was, and I told him, I felt like it was a slap in the face. And I just needed to share that. And so we ended up having this conversation back and forth on Telegram, and it was good. I was able to hear his heart. He obviously was very frustrated with me and my comments, but I didn't get all worked up like I thought I would. Instead, I was able to hear the weariness and the heart of somebody who has been trying to work so hard. And this person did not know that the communication had been cut off on the chat. They had put an admin in charge of that, and they were focused on development. And so he came back and said, I'm sorry, he didn't say I'm sorry, I wish he had, but he just said, I didn't know that comments couldn't be made on this. So now he does. He's like, I wish you had told me. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do? That's what I told him. I'm like, you're like the owner of that chat. I said, I rightfully assumed that you knew, but I'm sorry you didn't. But we were able to work through that. And in the end, he offered to have a personal phone call with me, and I said, no, that's not necessary. And he just kept trying to explain everything. And I was like, stop. You don't need to, this is totally okay. I'm totally at peace with, I made a decision. I've lost that money. I'm at peace with that. I can't go forward in your new project with you, but I can bless you. And, and then he opened up and shared, and I could feel, I could feel the heaviness in his heart, and he felt like a failure. And then I was just able to say, you're not a failure. This is just, an opportunity to learn and adjust and, go in the next steps. And also, we're both believers in Christ. And so I was able to, encourage him, that we both serve a really good Father, and that we're still brothers and sisters in Christ. And even though I'm not going to walk with him in this new path, I can still bless him. And so I just wanted to say, a couple of things, learning this is a really good example of how you can lose money in crypto, how things can change. But it's also a great lesson in not being afraid of confrontation, but confronting with respect. Even though it's a hard conversation, this was a hard conversation. It was uncomfortable for both of us. And I'm like, there's no way to say what I feel like I need to say without him being offended. And I'm putting him in a defensive mode. But we both stayed with the conversation until it ended in peace. And so I just wanted to share that, so this isn't just about crypto. This is a life lesson about living in peace. And that's one of the things that I think, that God desires from us is that we treat each other with respect, that we don't avoid the hard conversations, that we see each other as people who are created in the image of God and respect them as a human being. And then this one, it was another reminder of, you never know what somebody's going through. He was able to share, and I already knew some other things, and that could have been an excuse to not ever say anything. But I feel like, and I have no regrets, I feel like I needed to say what I needed to say. He needed to hear from people how they were feeling, his original investors. Even if it was hard, and even though he was going through a hard time, he still needed to hear it. And but to be able to leave that conversation with respect. And then, now I'm like, even more, even though I'm not going to partner with him in the new vision he has, my heart is set for him in terms of, I'm just praying so much for him that he would see success in what he's doing, that he would be encouraged in his soul and his spirit. And there can be unity even though we don't agree. I don't agree with his new vision, this new direction that he's taking. It's not something that I, in good conscience, can participate in. But what I can do is just say, I told him, I said, you are a brother in Christ, and I bless you. And I probably will reach out to him every once in a while and just say, I'm praying for you today. I believe in you. I believe in the vision and the heart that God, I believe that you can hear the voice of the Lord and that you're going to do what he has asked you to do. So even though I don't understand it, and I don't and even if it's maybe, in my opinion, some of it's not right, but I'm not in his shoes. And sometimes we have to let people walk down a path. I don't get everything right, but part of learning is, and especially learning to hear God's voice, is you have to let people to walk down their path and support them as much as you can, and let them get to the point where they have the revelation of, I think this is off, and allowing God to fix that. But it's easy for us to judge and say, oh, that's off. That's not right. Sometimes maybe we don't have the whole picture, or maybe sometimes we don't have the right perspective. Maybe that person is right and we're wrong. So I don't know if this means anything to you. I hope it's something that you can apply to your life, because as your soul friend, your AnamCara, this isn't just about investing in crypto. This is about life. This is about how to walk out hard things in life, and embrace the wisdom and the lessons learned in both. So for me, I learned that for me to step into a hard conversation is really difficult for me. So what I did yesterday was a big step. And I know that sometimes when I do confront people, it can be really critical and negative. And I was just trying, I'm looking back at it and going, I think based on who I am, I think I did a really good job yesterday of that. Could it be better? Absolutely. There's always room to grow. But for me, it was like, okay, I did something I was afraid to do, and I did it, and it had what I think was a really good ending. Was the ability to say, we're not on the same page, but we can bless each other and go our separate ways. And I love that. I love that. I love that we can still be in community and not be in total agreement. So, all right. That's all I have for today. See you next time. Bye.